Well, now our next presenter is Mark Bugendorf, who owns a hobby shop in California. And Mark is here to talk with us about the hobby shops and what the status of them are and how we're doing. Mark, welcome.
Thank you, Jim. How you doing?
I'm doing well, and I'm sorry that this is so late, but boy, this was just a full show tonight, and I apologize for it to be so late.
That's all right. It's not quite my bedtime, so we're okay. I actually have a guest tonight, Mike from Spring Creek Model Trains. Is he already logged in?
Yeah, we're right here, Mark. So
Okay.
It's actually myself and my brother Jeff is here. So
How you guys doing?
good.
Very good.
Good. Okay. Well, let's dive right in then. So what, Mike, tell us about your store. What do you guys do, products and your services?
Yeah.
Kind of, this is your shameless plug moment.
Sure. So yeah, Spring Creek Model Trains. We're located in Deshler, Nebraska. So our store here started by our parents in 2000. So we're going on our 23rd year right now, or in our 23rd year. So we primarily we started traveling with train shows all over the country. So we travel east, west, north, south, pretty much all the big shows every year. We're located there with a booth. We have a brick and mortar store here in our hometown. It's a town of 800 people, I guess now.
Yeah.
So we're located here in an old grocery store. We've got about 3,500 square feet of a brick and mortar store, plus a basement that we utilize as our warehouse. We have an online presence, springcreekmodeltrains.com. You can check that out. So the website started probably 5-6 years ago when Jeff moved back. He got into that, got that built for the store for all of us. And as you can imagine, a store that's been around for 20 some years before the website starts, there's a heavy backload of inventory. So we are working through that, just actively getting through a lot of our HO scale stuff. So I think right now it's working on a lot of our older Intermountain,
Yep.
right? So that's going up on our website right now. We do our own train show every other year. We host our own train show here in Deshler. So it's actually coming up our 5th.
Yes, 5th.
Yeah, it's our 5th show that we've hosted here in Deshler. It's coming up this July 8th and 9th. We host that. We double the size of our town within the weekend with people from all over the country. I think the last time we had a show, we had people from 17 different states that showed up and come check it out. It's a unique show. We get a lot of manufacturers. So we've got a long list of manufacturers, all different sizes of manufacturers too. And then we get a lot of specialty manufacturers, like the smaller ones that are just starting out. They'll come and check us out or check the show out, and we like to support with that. So anyway, those are, I guess, my quick speech there, Mark. So
Oh yeah. So what are some of the major brands and products you guys carry?
Well, we carry all the major brands. Not everything, of course, like Mike said, is listed on the website yet because we're still backlogging in everything. But yeah, we carry scale trains all the way to, of course, Athearn and
Wathers, Atlas, right?
all the big ones. We also are on our train show circuit side. We're an exclusive train show dealer for Exact Rail, so we do have a bit of Exact Rail around every once in a while. In N scale, we carry everybody there as well. Pretty much all the same brands. We're working on a couple others. We are hooked up with Aurora Miniatures, which is one of the newer manufacturers out there. So we'll be ramping up those inventory items. And we're working on trying to become a Prairie Shadows dealer. And then, of course, we're in communications with Roca Miniatures, but so far he's reluctant. So
hopefully we'll have some more exciting stuff this summer during the trade show. And it's one of the things that our dad founded the store on is really, we grew up going to hobby stores, right? When we went on vacations, it was one of the places we what we remember going to, right? Going to Caboose, I can remember to go to the stores in Kansas City. I can't
Mhm.
remember their names. I mean, I was too young, I guess, at that point, but going to a store and be able to put your hands on that product before you had to buy it, right? And be able to look at it, twist it around, right? I mean, we never opened them up out of the box, but at least you could see it and take a look at it. That's what our dad really believed in when he started this store. It's something that Jeff and I are definitely going to carry on as we continue the store, is being able to be hands-on with the product. And that's why we like to carry as much as what we do. So I mean, like I said, it's 3,500 square feet. That's just full to the rafters. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Our slogan, it really came from customers, is, stop in and say, wow. I mean, we get so many guys that just walk into the front door for the first time and they stop and it's a pause. And then you hear, wow, would have never thought this. Right. So that's kind of fun. So.
Right. And that's something, for a lot of you don't know, I'm from Nebraska too. So Dessler, Nebraska is not a very big town. And it's kind of in a obscure location. And you guys have managed to do some amazing things to pull off that kind of a customer base in that remote of a location. So what do you guys do to keep it fresh, keep it going with the store? Because as you know, we're in an age of internet, and a lot of people get lazy, and that's what this whole segment is based on, that I'm doing. Sure. is to get people back into the brick and mortar store. You touched on some key subjects that I was going to ask you about, and you already did it. So what's something you do to keep your store fresh and keep these guys coming back? Because it is a little bit of trek to your store.
Yeah.
And obviously you're doing it. It's very successful. I've been known you guys for years. So the fact that you're pulling this off says a lot.
I appreciate that. So I think the first thing that really, in my mind, that comes to is the fact that we do travel. We're able to make that customer connection. The fact that we travel all over the country. We have customers that know us, and we know them, right? Just all over. So they're making the phone call to the store, even though they don't trek to our brick and mortar, right? They may come to the brick and mortar once every 5 years, but we've made that connection, and they know that we're here and we do have a store and we do have stock, because they've seen that. Because we work hard at doing the social media, putting stuff out there. We're not the best at it, but we keep trying. We keep trying different things. We do.
We just,
I guess,
started a thing with Tony Cook. What, about once a month?
Once a month, kind of a little podcast that goes for 30 minutes. It's just Jeff and I and Tony Cook. We kind of just sit around and talk about trains and things that we've seen. We also do some new arrival videos that Jeff and I have done. Neither one of us ever thought in our lives that we would be sitting in front of cameras and talking to folks, right? Or, up there, or editing videos or whatever. But we get a good time out of it. We make fun of ourselves, right? There's bloopers at the end, where we're being ourselves. I mean, we're ourselves during the whole video, but you can see a little more behind the scenes on it. So we try to make that personal connection. We try to make that connection that we're model railroaders too. So, we're into this just like the customer is, and make that connection, right? I mean, you get into a lot, Jeff, with going through different things on some of the digital stuff, right? And the Fremo.
Try to,
Talk about that. I mean, you get out on the Fremo circuit.
I got myself involved in Fremo module setups, so I've traveled about 5 shows or shows/setups a year, and just get to hang out with the guys. It's more for me on that. It's just the personal time to model, but it just making those connections. They get to know me, which then gets them interested in our store. And that not that I'm promoting our store when I'm doing it. They're just asking questions, so I just answer and try to be as genuine as possible as the big thing. And one of the things we've started doing is really we noticed that certain manufacturers have a lack of customer service, and we try to take the brunt of that on ourselves so that the customer doesn't have to deal with it. We try to take care of the customer and then we take back the damaged product and deal with the manufacturer ourselves.
Yep.
We seem to get better luck that way, and it just makes it a little smoother. Not that we're always,
Perfect.
first in line with
Yeah.
Athearn or any of the others,
no,
but at least helps.
Yeah, we try that.
Hey.
I think one of the other big things, Mark, before is, Jeff touched on Fremo. We host a Fremo event every year, and it's something we just like. We like seeing the trains. We run the trains, right? We get in there. I'm an N scaler. Jeff's an HO scaler. My dad's an HO scaler. My nephew's an HO scaler. So when we get the setup, right, we get to go down there and we talk with the guys, right? Maybe we get our own stuff out. We get to run with them or whatnot. But we have a setup here in town that happens every year. And it's just a way and we promote it, right? And say, hey, come on down, right? We got trains to come watch, check out the store, and we get people to come check that out. And then all of a sudden the buzz starts building for the train show that's in 2 years or whatever. And, people start talking about,
Yeah.
okay, I'm coming. And, we got a really good customer in Detroit that he's been telling us, I think for a year now that, can't wait to meet you. I'm coming to the train show. I'm planning my whole vacation around it.
Oh, that's awesome. That is really good.
So, Mark, real quick, we have a question from YouTube that was kind of back to a subject you talked about before. Is why would a manufacturer be hesitant distributing to a hobby shop that is successful? So why is it hard to get manufacturers to work with you?
Well, some of them, I think it may be touching on the Roka miniatures where they're being reluctant. And that's just, he's more starting off his business as a direct sell model only. So it's not just us. He's reluctant with everybody at this moment in time. We've been having, we see him out at the train show circuit. So we talk to him every chance we get and just say, hey, we'd really like to carry your product. We can go to, we're trying to promote what we do, which is go to all the train shows. We know there are obviously bigger brick and mortar stores or presences, I should say, maybe not bigger store presences like Lombard and Train World. And
it really,
we just do it a little different. We try to get the car in people's hands, and he gets that part. So we're hoping that one of these days we'll be able to carry his products in store.
We've had a lot of good conversations with him. I mean, it's going to be amazing to see what happens with Roka models as it goes forward, right? Just for our industry in general. I think there's going to be some really cool stuff. I mean, whoever thought we would got those, what are they? I always say it wrong. I think they're safe pack auto racks, if I said that right.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Who would have ever thought we would ever see that in model form to the level of quality that we're seeing out of Roka? So what's coming from him, my own opinion is just like, this is going to be cool.
Sure.
And we're having some great conversations with them.
But
but we do that with all the manufacturers. We try all the time, and it's their decision. We have to make it work for us. They have to make it work for them. We're having those conversations with him too, and we'll see what happens. So,
do you think it's a margin issue for them?
Oh, that's always,
let me kind of expand that.
Sure.
So if I start out manufacturing, I'm doing direct sales. I price based on doing direct sales, and one of the challenges with that is you may not leave enough margin in there to pay a distribution channel, i.e. you.
Yep.
And so I'm wondering, is that kind of part of the problem, that because people are starting off with direct sales, they're not building an economic model in their business that allows them to go to distribution?
I think the big challenge is that first effort into it, right? Because you got a huge investment as a manufacturer, and we haven't manufactured, right? We work with a lot of manufacturers, but just that understanding is it looks like the amount of effort, the amount of financial capital they put into it, they got to make those decisions and make sure they're covering that up front. And, that's we want them to be successful. I mean, that's one of the things you ever have the chance to talk to our dad, Dave, right? That's one of his biggest things is he wants manufacturers to be successful, because if they're not, right, that's bad for all of us in the hobby. And we just want to be a part of that if we can find a place with them, and we'll just see how those things work out. But margin is also key. I mean, we've had great conversations with manufacturers that are out there to where the margin wasn't enough for either one of us, and it just doesn't work. But it doesn't mean that we're not rooting them on to make something good happen out there, because
Those
who
might-
knows what will happen,
those
you
things
know,
might
2
change.
years from
Yeah.
now or whatever. Maybe we can make something happen with them. So that's, but yes, I mean, we all got to be able to, you know, make money and to keep this going, right? That's the way business works. So
Right, I'm having that same issue right now, actually, with scale trains, because they don't want to open up any more dealers, and they want to, eliminate that and go direct to customer sales.
Yeah.
And we've experienced that with a couple other manufacturers also. And like you said, you just can't get everybody sometimes, and
Yep.
sometimes you just got to move on. And then there'll be a new manufacturer that might give it to me and not you. It just
Exactly.
depends on the attitude. But yeah, encouraging everybody to be successful, because this hobby's got to go on. If
Yeah.
it doesn't, all of our stuff's gonna end up in a landfill someday when we're gone.
Yep.
So
And I think we
and-
got to
and that-
encourage that ability to see the product, right? I mean, yes, I get the world is way more used to product, just hit the button, it shows up on your doorstep. I mean, it happens at my house all the time. But
Yeah.
I think in a hobby stance, or a specialized hobby like we are, right, where people really care about what the product looks like and the details and stuff and what you can see, and I don't know, there's nothing that stops a brick and mortar. I mean, the brick and mortar can provide all that, right? Plus, the ability to get out there and meet the customers wherever they might be. So I don't know. That's
Yeah.
my thought on it. It's just,
Yeah.
we,
No, I agree with you. Now, do you guys offer any service also, like DCC installs, repairs?
We do some minor install work.
Yeah, repair.
But we're both pretty not as very skilled as solderers, so we have not got into the deeper.
You're looking at the
installs.
repair department tonight, plus a lot of other departments. So it kind of comes down to a time management piece for us. So
We
yeah.
do work with a couple guys
yeah,
from some other communities not too far away that do install work for us, but it can take some time because they're busy too. So
yep, we got a
Oh,
lot
yeah,
of guys that do it on nights and weekends, kind of stuff. So
Okay. So, obviously, COVID was heck for everybody. We had a lot of supply chain issues. We had a lot of products that were not offered by manufacturers, everything else. Have you guys noticed that is getting better? The supply chain issues are kind of sorting themselves out and so forth, or are you still experiencing a lot of that?
they did. The electronic side is smoothed out, but it's not what it was before COVID. It's a little more predictable for us, I think, on what we're able to get, especially decoders. We had a lot of trouble during COVID getting certain decoders, which made it really hard with some customers. It's been interesting on the manufacturing side of like rolling stock and engines and stuff. I mean, it was a hectic last year, as I felt like everything kind of really broke loose, and then as all of a sudden it was just dumping on us all. So it became a real struggle there. I don't know. I know we have a lot of different manufacturers. That's something that they can just keeping it smooth for all of us as we take that product in, right? As a retail store or as a customer, right? There's only so much in your budget every month, right, to be able to do something. So
Yeah,
But it
that's
is-
true. When those bills come, it hurts.
yeah, right. I mean, it's just, especially when you get 3 or 4 of them, dump it all at one time on you. But those are things you got to work through and figure out how to get through that. But yeah, I feel like it's kind of smoothed out. I still think track's kind of an issue.
Yeah.
I feel like that, and turnouts, it still seems like a big struggle to get turnouts when you want them and when you need them.
yeah, yes.
So I'm encouraged with what's happening at Microengineering. We've had some good conversations with the new owners there, but we haven't, I don't know, we're not to the level with Microengineering that we need to be for what we want to be, I guess. I'm also encouraged with what's happening at Wathers. It seems like that's a little more easy to where they're helping us out by keeping themselves stocked. So
Yeah, I've
Make it
noticed
a
that
little easier.
recently. Started going. Well, that's great. Well, is there anything else you want to add about your business, or I know you guys had at the last show in Denver, I saw some 3D printed grain elevators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do, so we've been working with Iowa Scale Engineering on 3D printed, grain bins with Iowa Scale Engineering and
JP3D
GP3D. Yeah. Jimmy.
out of Salina, Kansas.
Yeah.
He started printing concrete elevators to a prototypical 125 feet tall.
Yeah, they're 2 scale, both HO and N scale. He's done some O scale special for customers, but those are pretty awesome. And he's done a terminal setup, right? How big's that terminal setup?
His terminal elevator is 8 feet long.
Yeah, in HO scale. So
It's modeling. It's not quite as long as the one that's in Salina, but it's close.
yeah,
Okay.
so that's pretty
Are those
awesome. It's
available on your website?
Not yet.
not yet.
I'm
Okay.
still working with Jimmy on how to get those logistics worked out. Because he does a lot of, I don't know if the word freelance is right, but that's what we use. He does a lot of
Custom.
projects for customers that just want a one-off. So
Okay.
spends a lot of time doing design work. So I don't want to flood him, so to
Yeah.
speak.
We work hard with him, and we try to make sure our trailer and our store is stocked with those elevators. So I mean, we don't have these. It's a pretty special deal, so we don't have a bunch of them, but we keep working
Right.
with him and keep him busy on those kind of things. But that's been
Mhm.
fun. We're working with another 3D manufacturer out of Ontario, Canada. I can't think of their name. Hamilton. Well, yeah, Yelton
Yelton.
Models. But hopefully we're going to be coming together and getting some, I guess, detail parts for the grain bins in a farm scene or even an elevator scene. So we've been working hard with them, and our family's history, right, is in the ag business, ag construction. So we know a lot of that kind of stuff. So we keep
Yeah.
trying to track that down. And that's
Well,
one thing we like to do is try to help bring new things to the market, right? If it's a paint scheme on a car, we try to do that. If it's a new detail part that we can get out there, we try to do that. So
Well, we also carry ABR Model Works.
yep, ABR Model Works, we've been working with them out of Australia, carrying his detail parts around. So that's been a good relationship.
Right now,
I
it's
hope.
just show.
Yeah, we carry
Oh.
mostly to the show because we don't have a lot of floor space here in the store for it. So we're able to make the table space work out at shows. So definitely be looking that out, and we ship to all that stuff for him here
Yeah,
in the
we're the
United States. So,
U.S. shipper for him.
yeah.
It
Oh,
seems to be a tremendous market for farm modelers, but they model in S scale. Do you all deal with them?
We don't really. We've had a couple younger farm modelers that have come through our store, and they buy up some scenery stuff, woodland scenics,
Yeah.
grasses and stuff like that. But we have not gotten into that world. We're always wishing that Erdl or that scale was much closer to HO scale. So
Yeah.
because there's a lot of stuff we would love to buy, right? I know Jeff, or I really should say Dad, would have on his layout.
Right. Yes, you would.
if Erdl was closer. So
We need irrigation pivots. 'Cause, I grew up in Gothenburg, Nebraska. So
yep.
irrigation pivots
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
would be
Yeah.
really nice.
Yep,
So
we're
what-
we're a hometown of Rinky pivots here. So that's our
Yeah.
dad built those all over the country. We built we built another one like 3 years ago, and it was like riding a bike getting back on it. So it was pretty crazy.
After 20 years
Yeah,
of not touching them.
after 20 years.
wow.
But so we built a few too ourselves, but that's something he's talked a lot about. He's talked with other manufacturers. Who knows? Maybe someday it'll come together and it prices itself out, right? But
Right.
that'd be pretty
Yeah.
cool for a layout.
That would be. I would do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So, well, does anybody have any questions for these guys?
Well, I've got
You,
one.
okay.
Your train show that you do every 2 years. What do you do that draws the small manufacturers to it and have people come from all over the states to come to it?
Yeah.
What's-
So
What do you do special? Something.
So the following, right? We have the following that's out there that know us from the different trade shows. and the fact that we make it unique every year, right? And
We try to.
yeah, and we get manufacturers and different layouts that show up every trade show.
So the first year was kind of more marketed like an open house
Yep.
deal.
Yeah.
And we had just a handful of manufacturers, but then the second year we were able to get in contact with Pella Soberg, or second show, I shouldn't say second year, but and he came and did some clinics. So that's what really kind of set it off, was we were able to get him on one of his travels to the United States, and he wanted to come rail fan the Kyle Railroad, which is not very far from us. So Dad took him out and did that, and then he did some clinics over the show weekend, and that just drew a bunch of people. And then the manufacturers that came that year just have talked about how they really enjoyed it, because every conversation they had was meaningful. Where a lot of times at the show, it's not always a serious modeler they're talking to.
Yeah.
So they feel like they get a lot of good conversations to give them good ideas on what next for their products.
Yep. If you're driving, to come out here to Deschler, you are in the model trains, and the manufacturers are learning that as we set this up. And, this year we have a couple new ones that haven't been. So we're hoping, that it turns out as good. I mean, we're always nervous going into it, but we keep trying different things, different scales, right? Will show up. 2 years ago, right, we had rideable trains. We have a guy here not too far from us that's building rideable trains, and he came and displayed what he was doing. Some of the smaller manufacturers, I think, are using it as a way to get some of their names out. So, and they're wanting to work with us and help us, or want us to work with them to help get their product out there in front of customers. And so, and then we try to bring in layouts. I'm sure we've all, at least I would hope everybody on here has been to train shows, right? And you go through a train show circuit, and then you drive maybe a couple hours to a train show, and you kind of see the same layouts and the same vendors. What we try to do is bring in layouts that are actually coming potentially multiple states away, that will come and set up for the weekend. So it gives a chance for guys to see other setups, other ways of doing things, talk to somebody else about how to do a scenery, how to do a setup, right?
Yeah.
So,
and one of
that's
our
pretty
local
awesome.
clubs really kind of took it to heart, because we said, well, we want to do layouts that aren't around. And they said, well, what if we really worked on our layout? And they really put in some hefty work over the last few years, and they are coming this year.
Yep.
So they're super excited to come and show off all what they have done and how they have improved. And they're just so happy. It was great that they took it that way versus we weren't trying to downgrade them. We were just saying, well, we want to bring in layouts that people don't see from around. And
they're super excited though. They're
to
coming. Yeah. That's super exciting to have them. And it's pretty interesting setup right now. We're just starting in on the layout of the building and everything. So it's going to be a packed building. We're actually going to be in four different locations in town. So we actually give out maps. I mean, our town's like 5 blocks long or 6 blocks long. So it's not like it's hard to get places. So we give out maps to everybody so they can drive to different places and check it out. So.
And when is your show this year?
So it's July 8th and 9th. So you can come check it out, drive through. There's hotels within the surrounding area, 20-30 minutes away. There's a bunch of different hotels. We'll have all that. That's actually will be on our website.
Yep. Out
there for everybody to grab. And then we'll be going through lists of the different vendors that will be manufacturers that will be there, different small vendors that will be there, different layouts. We'll be going through all that on Facebook and on our Facebook page, sharing all that. There'll be lists on our website. Just try to promote that.
Okay. Now, is there a separate website for the show, or is it just on your Spring Creek website?
It'll be right on the homepage on Spring Creek.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So it's easy for everybody to find.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. If you get a chance to go out there, do it. That's for sure.
Appreciate it.
Just a question for you. Do you deal with Rapido trains and other Canadian manufacturers from Southern Ontario?
We do. So
Good,
yeah,
good.
we do. We've dealt with Rapido for a lot of years now.
Good.
We've done a couple custom runs with them. Our last two we did in HO scale was their plastics hopper. What was that? The 5820?
Yeah, 5820
The 5820
They had
plastics hopper. There was a
experimental blue.
experimental blue Procore scheme that was on one car, one road number that they were able to find stuff on, and we worked with them and made that car happen. Then we also did on their last run of auto flood, right? It's auto flood.
yeah.
Yeah, the auto flood coal cars, both scales, HO and N scale. We did a custom run with them. We got another one that's in the works, the Iowa Interstate M420. So Rapido's got the M420 that's out there, and that was, I don't know, came down from a couple different places, but ended up at Iowa Interstate. And so we're doing
All three.
three numbers, yeah, exclusive run with them. And we've gotten to meet Jason and several of the team members, Jordan, Matt, all over different places across the country. So
That's great. Thanks.
Well, good. Well, does anybody else have any more questions? I think you guys have been great tonight. You've answered so many questions, and I think a lot more people now know you exist and know you're around.
yeah. Well, we appreciate the invite.
I'm really impressed. If you'd like to come back and promote your train show, just let us know, and we'll make sure that we've got time for you, because what you're doing sounds exactly like what I've heard Mark talk about before. You've got to get out to the train shows. You've got to get out and meet the customers or the potential customers. You can't just sit in your store. I've heard Mark talk like that, and obviously you all have the same philosophy. So anything that we can do to try to promote what you're doing, I'm all for.
Oh, appreciate that. We'll definitely reach out. We'd love to be back on here if we can and talk a little more about what's going to happen at the train show. That'd be awesome.
It's not a
That'd be
question, but I remember running into you gentlemen at the Timonium show in February.
Yeah.
And
Yes, sir.
I came over and thanked you for making the long haul all the way to the East Coast just for our show. And it was good to see you there.
Oh, appreciate that. Yeah, that's been good. That's our second year, I think, at
Yep.
that show. And we try to make circuits when we can, right? It just makes sense if we can pull it off. So
Hey,
Well,
can I ask you guys, can I ask a quick question? This is actually a bit of a marketing kind of input for us. We have this New Tracks Modeling Scholarship, and one of the places we think we can find applicants is in hobby shops. And so we've been talking about a program to create something for hobby shops. I guess the question I'm trying to think through is if we created something that was a 24, 30-inch by 18-inch poster, banner, sign that you could put up, would that make sense to put up in your store somewhere? I mean, if we made that available to you?
I think we might be able to figure something out with that. I'm thinking almost more we've been talking between two of us and talking with Dave and Deb, our parents, about it, is maybe trying to put up an electronic screen to where we can cycle through different slides about things that are coming on. Because we kind of get inundated with the posters or here's the next train show flyer and all that kind of stuff.
Just if I give you guys I give you a quick hint, $150 for a 32-inch TV at Best Buy, and $37 on eBay to buy a little player that's basically it's an HDMI output video player, and you plug a memory stick in, it's got a remote control, and you can pick the video and play it on a loop. So for less than $200, you can have a 32-inch screen in your store, and you just produce PowerPoint slides and then basically save them as a video, and then you can just run them as a video loop.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a computer.
I know what I'm doing when we get back from Ohio.
Yep, that was the best news I've heard for a while. So that got my brother convinced.
Yeah,
right there.
if you
So
guys,
that's perfect, so.
you guys can get my email from Jim. I'll send you the links to the to them if you're interested.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool.
Yeah,
Let-
that's something
let me-
we're trying to do because we see that as a great opportunity. I mean, we're not. Like, it'd be great if our store was right next to some tracks. So one of the things we're going to try to do is try to, have a screen up to where we can do virtual rail fan, and watch trains while we're in the store, even though we're 10 miles away from the track kind of deal. So
Yep.
obviously rail fanning and model railroading kind of goes hand in hand. So
The local club that you have, if they would like to be on the show, I'd be interested in having them on our show and having them talk about their club and coming to your show and, why
Awesome.
that's important to them and so forth. So if you think they would be interested, if you could, maybe have, Mark can certainly give you my email and put you in contact with us.
Yeah.
But if you think that the club might be interested, I'd like to have them on and find out about them and so forth.
I think we could do that, Jim. I think we
For a town of 800 people, I think to support a brick and mortar hobby shop and a model railroad club, that's something that, I think everybody ought to be supportive of that.
we can definitely do that. I would love to even do something with the Fremo guys when they come. So if they could be
Yeah,
on the
I
show
would
or
too. I would
something
too.
like
I
that.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that idea. Because I don't hear people talking about Fremo. I used to, but I haven't for years now heard people really talk about Fremo. So yeah, I'd be all for that. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll help you out there. I'd love to get that and be on there. I think we got a couple local clubs that would be, we call them local. They're within an hour of our stores, so
Sounds good to me.
that would be great to be on here. So
Absolutely. Mark, thank you so much for bringing some great guys and a real magnificent sounding hobby shop for the show tonight. I mean, that's really special. Thank you.
No problem. I'm glad I could get these guys to come on.
Mark, I
Patrick's got a question.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Patrick,
Jim, I kind of have a comment. We were talking about the new track, the model railroading, the model scholarship we were talking about off and on a couple of months ago. It just
Yes.
dawned on me. It just dawned on me now. Another great place you might want to promote that is the Boy Scouts of America. They have a merit badge called
If
Model Builder.
if I could get somebody to return my call, I'd jump all over it. I call the local place where I live, the local scout organization,
Yeah.
and got zero. I called the nation, and then somebody gave me information for a national officer. Called them, got zero back from them. The place that I get callbacks is the Boy and Girls Club.
That's a
But I
shame.
haven't been able to reach the scout. Why? I'm not sure.
That's a shame.
It is.
Yeah, 'cause the national office, I think it's still in Irving, Texas. Was that the office you called, the national office?
Yep. And if you've got a contact there that you can give me that I haven't tried, or just if you have a contact, whether I've tried it or not, I'll know whether I've tried it once you give it to me. But if you can put me in contact with somebody that might at least talk to me about it, that'd be great.
Well, I've been out of it for a while. Chicago, where I'm at up here, the council that I'm part of, everyone's changed so much. I don't even know who to call anymore. But I could give you the number to the office and have them, and maybe you can call them and see if they say, I don't know if they can promote it, but at least it's like, it's part of it, maybe not part of it. They don't want to change the requirements, but kind of an extra, hey, while you're doing this merit badge, this is available to you. It's kind of an extra add-on, but not make it a requirement. I'm the merit badge counselor for that particular, for model building merit badge. And granted, I've never gotten a scout that did it. It's kind of becoming, a lot of scouts don't look at, that one's kind of an unpopular merit badge, unfortunately. But even the railroading merit badge, there might be something there with that one too, maybe. But
Well, one of the requirements for our scholarship is it goes to a model railroad. That's one of the requirements, and if they're modelers, that they actually build models. They are a model railroader.
right, right.
So the merit badge was a logical place, it seemed to me, for the kids that were working on the merit badge. They had to be interested in model railroading. So, it seemed to me to be a natural.
Yeah.
But if the local place won't call me back, if I can't get contact somehow with somebody that'll at least talk to us about it, then I don't know how we use that organization to help us promote it. Now, the Boys and Girls Club, locally, the guy couldn't have been nicer, couldn't have been more supportive. I mean, he was just, oh yeah, a fantastic, great, all the right things. Call the national contact. No callback. I can't get in touch with, quote, the national organization. Well, I don't have the time to try to find every boys and girls club all over the individual cities all over the United States. So how we use those kind of organizations to help promote something that obviously is for the kids, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with that right now. That's why Mark has been so helpful, because Mark carries one of our banners to the various train shows that he goes to. Well, at least we're covering then a part of the country that Mark is involved with, because he goes and he has our banner, and it's got a QR code on it, so people can, immediately, if they want to, find out about the scholarship and get the details. And we've tried to make this so easy for the kids, because they can file the application electronically, they can download it electronically. It's,
That's the way to do it.
Can't be more, we think that we've made it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
It's just, how do we get the word out? So the train shows are important to us, because people like Mark who go to the train shows, people like hobby shops where kids and so forth, and people interested in model railroads come to, we see that as potential. Now, the Boys and Girls Club, I see that as a potential, but how, if they're not interested in talking to you about something like that, I don't know how you reach them. And the same way with the Scouts. The merit badge to me is a natural, because they're interested in model railroading, otherwise they wouldn't be applying for the merit badge. So
Right.
at least there's some interest there.
Well, I think it's more, I don't think it's that modeling merit badge isn't specifically model railroading. It's more just building models in general. So, but I mean, it's still geared toward that direction. But the railroading merit badge might be a little better, because that one talks about railroading and like real safety on the railroads and stuff like that. But also, there's a section in there about, operating a model railroad and things like that, or building your own.
Yeah.
But either one, but regardless, they should. I'm surprised no one got back to you about that.
I am too. And well, look at the trouble you're having with the merit badge program. So, sometimes I wonder. I had a student tell me the other day, and this surprised me. He said one of the big jokes here is, if the kid got the scholarship, they wanted to know whether the father or the mother wrote the essay, because they know the kid didn't write the essay, because kids don't write essays anymore. They get their parents to write the essays for the scholarship
Other
application.
than that, they copy and paste it. Believe me. So much.
And so, it makes me wonder, if the kid's not interested enough in getting a scholarship, I find that kind of strange too. I mean, I just don't understand it. Then I found out my local school, because our scholarship is anybody in the United States can apply. It said, well, we're not going to really promote that, because it's too much trouble. We want our kids to apply for stuff where they may have a better chance of succeeding. And I'm thinking, my gosh, competition's competition. What's the problem? We're offering money to the kid to help pay for his college. Why be scared to apply for it just because you're competing nationally and rather than just locally? That surprised me. So we're learning as we go with our scholarship program, trying to make sure that we communicate best we can. And kind of like the hobby shop owners, we're trying a little bit of everything, as Mark can tell you, to try to get the word out and try to make sure that all the students possibly at least know that we exist.
Have you tried contacting like Lionel or like those big trains like Bachman and them? Have you tried maybe talking to them about it? They could put it on their websites and stuff.
Atlas put it out on their newsletter.
That's good.
That they have. The NMRA has supported it. So some of the large companies have, others no. Walters, you got to give it to them. Walters is the only private company that I'm aware of that has a scholarship for model railroaders. Only company. None of the others have it, just Walters. And it's because of Walters that we're doing it. Because we thought, well, my gosh, it's a great idea. And nobody is doing it. All these companies that want to sell the products, and everybody's talking about, let's get more youth involved. Well, one of the ways to get more youth involved is to help pay for their college, it seems to me. So how come how come none of the large corporations and so forth and organizations aren't offering scholarships? So New Tracks started the scholarship fund because we couldn't find anybody that was doing it except Walters. And we supported Walters 100%. We had them on the show. I've written about them in my articles. We couldn't have been more supportive of them. So when we came out with ours, I called up Walters and I said, you want to join with us? And they said, no, we've got our own. Okay, that's fine. But we still support theirs because we think it's great to have model railroaders have the ability to help pay for their college through scholarships that are focused on them as model railroaders. We think that's a great way of trying to encourage young people to get involved with modeling, number one, and get involved with model railroading, number two.
Okay. Well, I'll send you a phone number to my local console and see, maybe you might get some, hopefully you'll get some traction there. So
talk to your local group that you're involved with. See what reaction you get from them. I mean,
well, I'm not part of a local group anymore. I've kind of backed out the last couple of years.
gotcha.
Yeah, it's too much on my plate. But I'll at least give you I'll see if I can grab a phone number and
that's great.
I'll figure that out next couple of weeks.
Any help, because if we can support other people, that's part of what New Tracks is all about. We want support from everybody that we can possibly get. Thank you, Mark, for all you do for us. And the people that have come forward to help and get the scholarship off the ground for this far, we got the 501c3 in I think 30 days because of the help of an attorney, Jeff Jordan, who's a model railroader, who's on the show, and he volunteered the time and got his firm to approve him volunteering his time to help us get the 501c3. And he did almost immediately. It took longer to get the corporation set up as a Florida corporation than it did to get the IRS to approve it as a 501c3. So, it's the people that have come forward to try to help us is phenomenal.
Yeah.
We're just trying to make sure that we notify all the possible kids to make sure that everybody has a fair chance to apply for the scholarship.
Well, keep chipping at it, Jim. That's you just got to keep chipping at it.
We're trying.
It's getting out there. So,
but that's why the hobby shops are important to me.
Yeah.
And regardless of how many there are around the country, those that are trying, those that are there that Mark is helping us find. I would have never known about this one in Nebraska if it hadn't have been for Mark finding them and knowing them and bringing them on the show. I'd never found out about the clubs. I'd never found out about the Fremont. I'd never found out about the train show you're doing every 2 years. If it hadn't have been for Mark and his effort to try to communicate what the hobby shop owners around the country are doing for this hobby that none of us know about. None of us know about what's happening out there in the hobby shop industry.
Very true.
And it takes people like Mark and Mike and so forth to come on the show and to talk to us and be able to communicate the importance that the local hobby shop has today, not had in the past, is having today on our hobby. And it's because of the hobby shop owners that are here tonight that we have any hobby shops left and that are doing what they're doing right today for our hobby.
Yep, I agree, Jim. I think you said it very well. So
guys,
and again, guys, thank you for being on the show tonight. We really appreciate you coming.
And Mark,
absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to come back, guys, about your train show, just let us know or whatever. And Mark can get you in touch with us.
Yeah, we'll definitely be talking about that. I think that I would really appreciate the opportunity to be back on here. So
No problem. We're easy. Right, Mark?
That's awesome.
All right. I'll talk to you tomorrow, Mike.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
No problem.
Mark, thank you so very much.